Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Bhagavate Shri Swami Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Paramagurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Narnarayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Vasudev Narayanaya Namo Namaha. Om Sarva Mangala Mangalne Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanya Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche. Om Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahakali Rupena Samsita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samsita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahasaraswati Rupena Samsita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on verse number 24. So today I'm going to examine this a little bit just from my perspective here, and then we'll get back to the video probably tomorrow on the same verse. So the verse number 24 in Vivek Chudamani begins with the word Sahanam. Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam. So in life there is Sukh and Dukh, right? This is there. We may ask the question, why is that there? See, we experience Sukh and Dukh in everything. As we heard yesterday in yesterday's lecture, in small things also, we are always trying to readjust again and again and again. We are attempting to discover that point which is a doorway into the Atma, that is Ananda. So through the body and through the mind, through the experiences of the body and the mind, every experience we have is an attempt, or we keep readjusting the experiences so that a doorway can be opened internally into the Atma, which is Ananda. So whether a person is becoming angry or jealous or sad or they're forgiving or they are having the best quality emotion or the worst quality emotion, best quality thought or the worst quality thought, they're taking actions that are very damaging to oneself or could be very beneficial to oneself. Any action taken by anybody at any time for any reason with any motivation is an attempt to discover the Atma. Now, this might sound like a crazy statement. How can that be? How can a person who is, addicted or who is filled with all kinds of anger and hatred and dictatorship and evil thoughts and all that, how can that be an attempt to discover the Atma? How can that be the case? Well, it is. It is 100% the case, because the person is searching for Ananda through those means. See this point clearly, and as I'm talking, I'm looking at this myself. I'm requesting anybody listening to this to look at this yourself, because we can listen to lectures from so many different people online, and you can even listen to me, and you can listen to yourself and others, which is all okay. But I think at the very root of the exploration of the Atma is to recognize that we are all human beings, all living beings, are searching continuously for the infinite joy that is God. But the difficulty that comes about is that our experiences in the realm of the senses, in the realm of the mind, these experiences are limited. This is where the Sham, Dam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, all these Shat Sampati that has been talked about, the inner wealth, right? the inner wealth actually grows with a realization of the limitation of the experience of the senses. And until that realization doesn't happen, there will not be the mental retraction into the Atma. Otherwise, the mind will keep looking for something outside. Now, how does this connect with the non-dual Kashmiri Shaiva tradition? How does it connect with this? So, there's several things to keep in mind. Our experiences of the senses are to remain within a certain range where there is no damage to the flow of energy. So this is Shakti and Shiva. Shakti and Shiva means what? And many times Vedantists don't talk about this as much. They just talk more about the Atma and about going beyond the three bodies. Fine, that's true. That is our goal. We want to go beyond the three shariras, Sthul, Sukshma, Karan, and realize the Atma. That's correct. But even all the people in Advait Vedanta or in Bhakti's path or any path, as long as we have a body, we have experiences of this body. There's no question. The intelligence has to guide us as to what range of experience is going to take us towards the Atma and give us good quality experience in the world, in the family, in our occupation, that does not create energy damage. See, this is where the Navaran mantra comes into play. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche. This Navaran mantra is a Maha mantra. What this mantra is the link between the experiences of Prakriti, the experiences of life that we have, actual experiences of life, and it is a bridge through the mind-body complex into the Atma itself. This is the glory of Shakti Upasana, which is like none other in that sense, because it is a bridge between these two. It is only in Shakti Upasana there is a full bridge, not in any other Upasana. In other Upasana, yes, if you are just going straight towards the Atma, you have Swaminarayan mantras, Lakshmi Narayan mantra, you have these Vedantic mantras, Soham, Shiva mantras, and all those mantras are there. And they also have Shakti inside of them. It's not that they don't. But they are pulling you away from the experiences of the material world. Right? That their mantras are those mantras are to take you away from the experience of the material world, so the attempt is to become free from it, and the experience of the material world is kept in a very limited way, or it is kept only in terms of devotion to God. Navda Bhakti, Navavidha Bhakti. So, like Vaishnavas, who are pure Vaishnavas, they are going to just be devoted to Krishna or Vishnu or Balaji, for any form of Vishnu Bhagwan, are going to be, they're devoted just to the Vishnu Swarupa primarily. They respect other Swarupas, but their devotion is there, and their mantras are going to take them away from Prakriti to a large extent, so that the Prakriti folds in on itself and goes towards Bhagwan Vishnu. But in Shakti Upasana, that can happen also, but it can go in any direction, depending on what you're looking for. That is why Shakti Upasana is very different. When we say Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche, even somebody who is a Nastik, somebody who is completely only wanting Vishaya Bhog, let's give an example of this thing. And this kind of talk that I'm giving right now, you will not hear from these saints. I guarantee you that, because they're not going to talk about it this way. But this is a fact. Anybody who wants just Vishaya Bhog, they want Kam, Lobh, Krodh, whatever they want, right? If that is in their mind and they want that intensely, the Navaran mantra is the kind of mantra, is the one mantra, the Shakti Upasana. The goddess Tattva, Prakriti is such that the Mool Prakriti, the Devi, she will say, okay, my child, you want this? I'm going to give it to you. You will find in the history of India, all of those people who have worshipped Devi, everybody has worshipped Devi. The Asuras have worshipped Devi, devotees have worshipped Devi, the sages have worshipped Devi, the vicious people have worshipped Devi. Everybody has. There is not a single person who is not in fact worshipping the goddess. Even people who have heinous ideas, those ideas, those negative, extremely negative ideas, where are they coming from? They are coming from tamogun. So tamogun, rajogun, where does that gun come from? Where is the energy coming from? That is coming from the goddess. It doesn't mean that the goddess is making you do those things. But because you want those things and you're going in that direction, what happens? You begin to experience that. And then from that, by experience, but if you're worshipping the goddess, eventually she frees you from it. This is called bhukti and mukti. This is the only in the Devi worship, and that is why it is the most dangerous worship, it is the most tricky worship, and it is not to be done unless there is the proper guru. There are individuals in the history of India, there are so many of them that have gotten certain siddhis, certain things that they have wanted to see happen, and they use in a negative way. You see? So that is why the gurus should be sadgurus. They should not be asadgurus. Asadgurus are those who are teaching kam, krodh, lobh, moha, matsar, asha, trishna. These people are not gurus actually. They are asuras. And we find that throughout the world today. They may not be thinking of the goddess directly, but they're using the material power for their own egotistical purposes. The wars that are going on, the hatred that is going on, ye sab kya hai? Where did that energy come from? It is coming from nature. It is coming from their mind, from their body, right? They don't have the connection with the goddess. But when there is the Navaran mantra, Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche, when we do this mantra, what is the intention behind the mantra? हमारे अंतर में भावना किस प्रकार की है? If Sachin is saying that I want Brahma Vidya, I want to realize the Atma, I want to realize Vedanta, she says, okay, go ahead, no problem. If Sachin says, no, I want lots of material wealth, बहुत ऐश्वर्य चाहिए. I continue my sadhana, at some point she will bring that to me. Guaranteed. ये guarantee ही है इसमें. If somebody says, I mean, destructive thoughts can be there with the clean beach mantra. That no, some negative thing should happen to somebody. Isko sharp kehte hain. The rishis used to give sharp. Remember this thing? But then they were told not to do that. If you remember the story of Parikshit. Parikshit was a king, and he was given a shrap by a rishi. So इसमें क्या होता है? When one is doing sadhana, the purification has to be there internally. Otherwise, once your energies begin to elevate, and if you have a negative thought towards somebody, that will become real. इसको वचन सिद्धि कहते हैं. So adhyatma is not something to be played around with. People think, oh, thoda mandir mein jate, rituals and all that thing is okay, but people who are serious behind this, who have gone further, they begin to have a lot of energy awakened inside. And if that energy is misused through the ego, then what will happen? It can be harmful to others, and it will also degrade one completely. That's why Bhagwan Swaminarayan in Shikshapatra, I want to mention this point very clearly. He mentioned it for all the devotees. The verse is like this: Gali danam tadanam cha krutam kumiti bhirjanehi kshantavyameva sarvesham chintaniyam hitam chataihi. That means if somebody curses you, hurts you, does anything negative to you, what are you to do? You wish good for that person. That is agnya. वो भगवान स्वामीनारायण की आज्ञा है for whole world. It's not about sampradaya and groupism and Gujarati. Forget all that thing. That has no consequences of any kind as far as spiritual realization is concerned. What is necessary is the spirituality behind all of this. That when something negative comes our way from somebody, what is the response from inside? This is real Vedanta. The response from inside is that you wish good for that person. Chintaniyam hitam chataihi. and you tolerate. Galidanam taranam cha krutam kumati virjani kshantavyameva sarvesham. That means, this titikshasva, this tolerance, this is the practicality in life. Such is in my life, let's say internally or externally, if some negative things have come, what do I do with that? Do I just run with that negative reaction in my mind? No. I have to turn it around from inside. And that knowledge, that technology of turning around from inside is exactly what is taught in the Vivek Chudamani. And that particular turning inside is exactly what is Shat Sampati. You just Shat, Sham, Dam, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhan. There's 6 of them. Right? And there's a definition that is given very beautifully as we're examining carefully. The practicality is the key in this thing. That in our day-to-day life, we are living in the world of Prakriti. We cannot deny this fact. We're eating food. We are seeing objects. We are hearing all kinds of things. But that whole idea of placing the energy behind the senses in their respective socket, the Golok, not that Dham Golok of Bhagavan Krishna, but that socket that is, the placing the energy inside. That placing of the energy inside is forgiveness for another person. It is recognizing that the internal power is not to be leaked out once it is conserved. Very critical thing to realize. When we conserve the internal power, don't leak it out. In fact, when the power is used, it is used in such a way that it benefits everybody around, and the power grows. You see, like for example, right now Sachin is doing this contemplation, making some recording, trying to offer something to the world as a seva, right? So if I do this only with the intention of the benefit for the whole sansar and for my own benefit, it's going to grow. The gyan will grow, the wisdom will grow. That is the great. Doesn't mean that Sachin has realized everything. No, it doesn't mean like that. It's whatever is being given out is going to grow. Right? Now, even if the same thing that I'm doing, there is some hidden ego that, people should say Sachin is this. I should have so much money. I should have built this organization, do this, do that. Some ego is there. Some ego is there that is motivating what I'm doing. Then what will happen is that it is not genuine Vedanta. It is ego driven. There is some lurking of this poison inside. And that is the key. Adhyatma mein kya hai? Adhyatma mein, life mein, again, you cannot separate life from spirituality. You cannot separate life and spirituality and psychology and money and finance and relations. It's all together. It's all together all the time. These things are not separate from each other. But when we are moving in the river of life, there is a tremendous realization of the limitations of the experience of Prakriti. That is what will lead to Brahmagnan. See, like in the Saraswati Puja, we say Om Aim Atmatattvam Shodhyami Namasvaha. In the Havan, what is this meaning of this? Iska meaning kya hai? Aim Bij Mantra is Mahasaraswati Bij Mantra. That mantra is enough to realize God. That will open everything you need to realize Vedanta and everything else. Just that one mantra, even if no other mantra is there. Just Aim. Vedvyas ji chanted this mantra for thousands of years. One mantra, and that opened everything, and all the Puranas and everything was written out of that. So, Mahasaraswati is Gyan. So the Aim seed mantra, it is through mantra that the intellectual power is transmuted, changed. So the importance of the seed mantras, the Bij mantra, is extremely there. So when we chant that, then our vision opens up. Our internal chakra system changes. The problems in the Sukshma Sharir begin to dissolve. That is a medicine. Ye ek badi dawa hai. Because if somebody has, let's say, a lot of anger inside, you know what will happen if they chant Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai? Let's take an example. What will happen? Let's say you have an individual. Let's say the individual is, 25 years old. and has tremendous anger control problem, but starts sitting with this Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche, several things will happen. One is that whatever that person is angry towards, that anger, he's going to gain wisdom about the anger. What exactly is that anger? What is that emotion? That wisdom is going to come through Aim Bij Mantra. Through the Hrim Bij Mantra, it's going to stabilize the energy within anger. क्रोध में जो शक्ति है, उसका जो stabilization होता है, वो Hrim Bij Mantra से, that will happen that way. Klim Bij Mantra, what that will do is that it will bring that person to a point where that anger expresses itself internally, and it will create so person will experience maybe even some heightened experience of that, and it will drop. So but the person won't harm anybody else. Isme kya hai? Then that anger that heightens, that's not your anger. If there was injustice done, if there was some kind of if the cause of the anger is injustice or some type of a negative thing, the Mahakali, she will awaken that anger inside. That's not your anger, that's her anger. This is very difficult to understand. And then that will culminate and it will dissolve that problem. This is very difficult to understand. This is probably not explained by anybody. I've never heard anybody explain this thing. I have checked with many gurus who are masters in the Shakti Upasana. And they say, Sachin, this understanding is correct. This is exactly what happens. हमारे में जो क्रोध है, क्रोध transmutes into compassion, but in Shakti Upasana, the क्रोध will awaken for when there is tremendous injustice. ये जो काली का जो स्वरूप है, she's ready to cut the heads off of everybody. What is that? It has several meanings. The one meaning that it has is that internally, wherever you are having rag, dvesh, krodh towards somebody, some situation, it is going to express and it's going to awaken where that situation is cut off from you. This is the difficult thing to understand. It happens. इसमें क्या होता है? Krodh awakens further, and it dissolves krodh. In Vachanamrut, this point is written in a little different way. कि काटा थी काटो निकले. Meaning what? If you have a thorn in your skin somewhere, then you use another thorn to get rid of that thorn. This is what happens in the Shakti Upasana. That's why Shakti Upasana में इसमें भाव अत्यंत शुद्ध होना चाहिए. Otherwise, you cannot handle what's going to happen inside of you. You'll not be able to handle it. इसीलिए जो शक्ति उपासना is not to be done unless there's the proper guidance of a Siddha Guru who is 100% pure and has no self-interest motive and has the sakshatkar of the goddess. Otherwise, Shakti Upasana, serious Shakti Upasana is not to be done. Yeah, we can invite a Pandit and do a Chandi Path. We can do Navaran Mantra 108 times every day. No problem. Those are light forms of that. I'm talking about people who are doing Navaran Mantra 51,000 times. इसको पुरुष चरण कहते हैं देवी जी. इसको पुरुष चरण कहते हैं 100,000 times Navaran Mantra. These are some intense people and they have a lot of siddhis and powers eventually that grow. But with those siddhis, powers and all those things, what is the quality of the emotion inside? What is it being used for? In this world, there are many people who have a lot of money, a lot of power. They have political power. They have so many kinds of power that they have in this world. How are they using that power? Shakti is raw. It's raw power. That is why the intelligence that Vedanta gives us has to be there. And in Vedanta, meaning Advait Vedanta, Vishishta Advait Vedanta, Brahma Vishishta, all forms of Vedanta are giving us greater intelligence of how to use that awakened power. Otherwise, that same power, because of our ego, ahankar, that ahankar will get hold of that power. And this is a fact. This is a fact. किसी के भी पास बहुत पैसा आ जाता है quickly, or some position comes all of a sudden, some big position comes, some big power is given somehow. the ego will get hold of that, usually. And that is the danger in this thing. See, that's why the connection with the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita are essential. If somebody is doing Shakti Upasana, they must have the proper connection with the Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta. What is the Gita saying? Keep everything steady, stable, Sita Pragnita. Don't go into all these polarities. So when energy is awakened, keep it steady, keep it stable, keep it dynamically growing, and use it Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Use it for the benefit of everybody. Don't let your ego consume that. That is the Rakshasa. The Rakshas kya hai? Rakshas is not somebody with all the others like they show in those films and all that. Rakshas is the ego only. That is totally damaging and destroying the awakened power from within. And then it becomes stronger. The ego becomes stronger and stronger, and then it wants whatever it wants. So within ahankar is ichha. So ahankar mein ichha hoti hai. Ichha mein shakti hoti hai. The three, ahankar is the me that is separate from the you, the me that is wanting something from this world to increase and inflate it further. That inflation of the me, jisko ahankar, ahankar is the me that expands. The I becomes stronger. This happens in so many areas of life. And when that expansion is there, energy is dumped inside the me. But even that energy has the only one source, that is Mul Prakriti. So the me that becomes stronger, where energy is dumped inside there, it inflates further, and yes, based on certain situations, an individual is able to have, for some period of time, those experiences that they're looking for, because they are in that position, they're in that situation. But then they run after those experiences, they experience that, then the me wants it more. It wants to go further. Somebody becomes a governor of a state and has all the, the fanfare and adoration and all that. So okay, now I want to become a U.S. senator. The senator is there for many years. Okay, now I want to become president. The president is there for one term. No, I have to go for second term. We just saw that in this recent election, right? We see that all the time. If the person has gone for 2 terms, then what? Okay, now I want to write books. I want to make money on the lecture circuit. Okay, and then what? Okay, then I want to get the Nobel Prize in something. Okay, and then what? Okay, so you get the Nobel Prizes in this thing, and then person is continuously trying to expand the experiences in the Prakriti. You can expand them. You can gain tremendous success in Prakriti. Yes, possible. But that is not moksha. That is not the anubhav of the Atma. It doesn't mean that you don't progress. You can progress and you can have anubhav of the Atma. But to have that, there has to be Devi Upasana. If you want to progress in the material world and have anubhav of the Atma, the Shiv Shakti Upasana has to be connected with Vedanta. Otherwise, what Vedanta will do, it will pull you away from the world. More and more and more. It will pull you away and you will not care about the world. And if you want to follow that, it's okay. If you don't care about the world to begin with, then it doesn't matter. To a little bit of whatever you have, you're satisfied with. Jo aayega, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm only interested in the Tattvamasi. I'm interested in the Akshara Brahma. Whatever happens in this world, many paths are like that. Advait Vedanta is like that. The Swaminarayan Vedanta is like that. The Bhakti Sampradayas are like that. But the people in those sampradayas, in those paths, they still want the expansion of the material world. That's where the problem really begins for them. Now they can't do either one. Because the path they're on is taking them away from the material world. And they still want to progress in the material world. How that can happen? the only upasana that gives you both or bridges the two together is Shakti Upasana. And in the Shakti Upasana, the goddess will give you the heightened experience. And from the heightened experience, the Gyan will come that this experience is very limited. Let me now go back into Vedanta. Let me leave that experience there. You did something good for the world. It's okay. Don't pursue it anymore. How much fascination you will have with the waves of Prakriti. That intelligence comes, it is left alone. And even whatever the success is, it's left, and then the journey completely begins into the Atma. I don't know if others have explained these things this way. Maybe they have. I don't know. These things are very clear inside my mind, and I'm not sure if I'm explaining it properly or if I'm even presenting it properly. But you can't have any path that is going to take you towards the Atma that are Vedantic or Bhakti oriented, that will pull you away like a yogic path, pull you away from the world. And at the same time, internally, a person has all these desires for the world. You know what will happen? This is described in Vachanamrut Garada Ante number 2. This problem is called Chitta Vritti Vibhranta. It is a dispersion of the Vritti. J. Krishnamurti talked about it as fragmentation. And if that happens, which is what is the case in most people, my opinion, this is just my opinion, 90 to 99% of the people on Adhyatmic path, they're split like this. They want things from this world, and they're on paths that are completely opposite to that. Here's another example. The worship of Guru Dattatreya. In Maharashtra and in Gujarat and other places, there is so much worship of Guru Dattatreya. I said that worship is for sadhus and sannyasis. It's not for grahasthas. Guru Dattatreya was a sannyasi, Brahmagnani Sant. He was the incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu. Yes, you may gain material things also, but what will happen, if you start worshipping Dattatreya, your whole householder life will unravel completely. That is not the right worship for the householders. Yes, if they're in sannyas ashram, vanprastha ashram, all the responsibilities are done, and you are contemplating on the Brahma Vidya completely, and everything is done, then Guru Dattatreya worship is fine. But people don't know this. I cannot tell you how many people I have met who worship Dattatreya because of tradition or whatever, they love Dattatreya and all that. It's fine. But they are keeping attachments in this material world. You know what will happen? The entire energy structure will become chaos. It is a wrong upasana for people who want material things. Worship Shivling instead. ये जो हमारी संस्कृति में अनंत ये सब उपासना, there's so much confusion. People don't know what they're doing in this thing. So whoever you're worshipping, you're going to get the quality of that. If you are a married person and you want material life and you want good things and plus you want Brahma Vidya, Shivling is beautiful. Shivji ka abhishek karo, no problem. Ask whatever you want from Shiva, no problem. Thoda Navaran mantra karo, no problem. And then when the time comes, if you feel that no, I want to go completely towards the Atma and live a highly simplistic life and bring all the vritti inside, where titiksha, shraddha, samadhan, ye sab gun jo shat sampatti that Shankaracharya is talking about, when that time comes, yes, you can then completely go towards that. But one cannot say that I'm going to go towards the Atma, pull my mind towards the Atma, and then have another part of my mind get pulled towards the sansar. That's some chaos. Isme to tremendous chaos hai. And there are so many people on the spiritual path that are trapped in this chaos. They are just completely trapped in this. They don't know. They don't have a way out. They don't have the proper gurus to pull them out of that thing. The kind of upasana that they're doing is all mixed up and everything. It doesn't work that way. Like in Swaminarayan Sampradaya, I have met God knows how many people. They've created chaos in their life. Why is that? Because what Maharaj is talking about is something so transcendental and beyond, and you're still hankering after these worldly things. That's not going to work for you. Not in that upasana. It's not. You can't put somebody in the PhD level mathematics class who doesn't know anything about geometry or trigonometry. Aisi baat hai. So these are. I just wanted to share that because I don't know. It was just in my mind to kind of pull these ideas together. One should be very genuinely honest with oneself. What the heck is happening with me inside? Looking in the mirror. J. Krishnamurti said, look in the mirror. The relationships that we have, the sadhana we're doing, everything we're doing is a mirror to who we are. Swaswarup, understand, Swaswarupachala Sthitaye Namah. Bhagwan Swaminarayan ka ek naam hai, Swaswarupachala Sthitaye Namah. That means who is completely established inside the Atma. He's teaching us, he's showing us. Get established. That's what Vivek Chudamani is about, that. Establish yourself, then you're a lion in this Prakriti. Nothing will touch you. Whatever may happen in Prakriti, nothing touch. That is the liberated being, Jivan Mukta state, Videhi Mukta state. But that is the highest of real life, like Guru Dattatreya and Shankaracharya ji and Sajanand Swami and Raman Maharishi and Ramakrishna Paramahans and all these Jesus and all these people. These are liberated beings. So the amount of difference there is between one bacteria cell and a human being is that much difference there is between a human being and a liberated being. Itna farak hai isme. So to really take this path, to really do this, one has to be genuine. Where is my desire? What do I want still in my life? What am I looking for in my life? And to bring about this internal clarity. That is why the Namah Shivaya mantra, very good from a mantra point of view. Aim Reem Klim Chamundai Viche mantra, to some extent, fine. If someone is going further in Shakti Upasana, what is the intention? Why you're doing it? Because if you go further, the sadhana is not easy. But if a person does get to that point, certain things are going to come to you that you are looking for. Is the ego going to grab hold of that, or are you going to use it for the benefit of the world? That is the real internal question. The ego gets hold of it. Ego is never satisfied. It inherits money, or it gets a lot of wealth or a lot of Aishwarya. How much satisfaction? Someone has $2 million, the person is thinking, oh, the person who has got 20 million is much more happier. I feel like I'm poor compared to that guy. It's never enough. Someone who has $100 million thinking billionaire is so much greater. Who am I? I'm like zero compared to that guy. This is going on inside. There's always a sense of lacking something. What Shankaracharya ji is teaching us in the Vivek Chudamani and all the related scriptures is to come to a state of Purnakam Bhav. This is in Gujarati, and Vachanamrut Maharaj stated, come to a state of complete satisfaction with it. Whatever situation you are in. You may be progressing tremendously in the material world, you are satisfied. You may be living a very simple life, you are satisfied. The motivation to progress further in the material world does not damage the Atmagnan. Both, and to bridge that together from a mantra point of view, Om Aim Reem Klim Chamundai Viche, this pulls it together. That is the bridge between the two, and as far as I know, that is the only actual bridge. All right, so that's it. I wanted to say that today. Thank you, and we'll continue tomorrow.